SPY again right on the VWAP. Again, make sure you get your sell order in laser for 55 in case we get a pop in it. Stocks that have that kind of activity on the 5-minute chart can do another pop just for a quick one, and you want to be prepared to have your sell order in there in case it hits it. Again, I'm out of the ASML. I'm still moving down, I assume. Yep. SPY coming in here now a little bit. PNW holding up though. Like to see this thing pull back down again. But again, these chip type stocks are really pretty weak. NVIDIA is still coming in as well. Still selling off below the VWAP. AMD down pretty good today as well. Pat's Nation, hey, good morning. Sorry I started the YouTube feed a little late here. How do I determine how much I want to make on it? Basically what I'm doing is I'm looking at PNW. I pretty much want to make it a day trade because I don't know what the market's going to do. And 90 cents that I'm looking at for a profit is basically if PNW gets down to the next horizontal support level that I've got below it, below where the price is right now. On the daily, I have a 175.95, so about 176 on PNW. So my estimate is the options will be worth somewhere around 770, 780 or something if it gets close to there. PNW is still bouncing here with the market pulling down. This is basically a SPY Super Systems short on the SPY right here as it breaks below the VWAP. It's kind of come down quite a bit already. Yeah, and I get next week's puts on PNW, so I won't have any problem holding it overnight if it continues to remain bearish today, even though it's bouncing up here right now. But basically, I'm looking for it to stay below the 200-day moving average on PNW, which is at 179.31. 179.31. So I want to see it close below there today. CVS still holding up pretty well. SPY bouncing again now, back above the VWAP. bit of chop here now as the market comes down to the right below the pivot point. That's right below the VWAP, and then tries to bounce back up again. PNW recovered quite a bit here, bounced right back up again. Again, I'm in next week's calls on this. Next week's put, sorry. Still right at the VWAP here, hasn't closed above it. Again, if you're trading these things short, like on a SPY super system trade, what you want to, if you get in right here at the VWAP, you want to give the next candle some time. You don't want to close it out too soon, because it might close right back below that VWAP again. Just meandering around here. Come on, about 5 minutes to 12. Again, market had a pullback this morning, gap down, and moved down pretty good the first two candles, and then it just recovered beautifully. Right up through the VWAP, right up through the 15, right up to the pivot point. Then it ran along the pivot point for about an hour, and now it's pulling back right to the pivot, to the VWAP again, and very undecided where it's going right here. Again, we took PNW short. It's next week's puts. It's bounced up on this particular move here in the market, so it's kind of got relative strength right now, which is a bit of a concern. But it's still below the 200-day moving average, which is where I want to see it stay. Again, I had ASFL put debit spread in that. I took profits in that this morning. It's still going down. Could have squeezed out some more money out of that. CVS. Again, just watching the daily chart on CVS, it's pulling back right now, but green for the day. FedEx is driving me crazy. This thing is just not moving at all. Probably going to take it off today. I don't know. I mean, it's down to about $4. That's $3.80 a contract right now, and it hasn't moved anywhere for 3 days. UPS coming back down again to a 111. That's not a particularly good move either. The straddles and strangles being a little bit challenging right now. Laser moving back up. Again, we get a sell order on Laser here at 55 cents. Getting to 40, that would be a pretty nice profit. Right now that's going for 50 cents on Laser, 50 cents. So you just need a little bit more of a move in Laser to the upside. We're in the money on the calls. SPY still hasn't been able to close above that VWAP. Closed pretty much right on it here. SPY trying to come in a little bit. PNW starting to sell off a little bit more. So if you're in the SPY super system trade, you're still in it as it broke below the VWAP, hasn't closed above the VWAP, still moving down, but pretty slow here right now. I'm going to take this FedEx off and take the loss on it. This really is not doing anything, and I'm not going to give it another day and a half of time decay. Let's see what I can get for it. Okay, I closed FedEx at 360. Closed FedEx at 360. Very disappointing strangle. Very. A straddle. I've had some good straddles and strangles lately. This is not one of them. And didn't do anything after that big move. So took a loss on it. UPS I'll stick with. Laser trading at 51 cents right now, so I got a 55-cent sell order on that. Again, I took a loss on FedEx. Took a profit on ASML. PNW starting to come back down again a little bit. Pretty slow action here right now. This is not big moves in the market at all. It's just fighting right over the 15 EMA. It's really very sluggish action here in the SPY. Watching PNW here, going the wrong direction for me, but still bearish on the daily chart by significantly. CDS just drifting below the VWAP here, still green. Apple moving up nicely today. Nvidia trying to bounce, not able to. ASML still coming down. All right, see if you get any questions here. Just trying to watch a few of these positions. Roger took UPS calls off, left the puts on. All right. Again, legging out of it. FedEx painful, yeah, well, it certainly was. Yeah, FedEx, UPS does have some chance to get into profits. That's why I'm keeping it on. Lee, SE trying to break out, nice relative strength. SE. Yeah. C Limited. The PBO too. It's a pretty nice PBO on this thing. Yeah, this is printed in a pretty good uh, bullish setup. It's been trending up for a good long time. Not exactly smoothly, but as you can see, it's moving up. But you've had some pretty dramatic pullbacks here, and then a nice move up here off of earnings. Get moved up pretty hard, pulled right back to the 8 again. Get too extended, and again right back to the 8. This is pretty choppy stock now, but this is a pretty nice candle right here. As it does a PBO with some potential to the upside. I mean, that's about another $10 to the upside on that thing. Nice look on that one. Very nice. I just don't know what the market's going to do here. I'm not, just not. This bouncing above the VWAP now. I'm really just don't know what the market's going to do. It's fighting around with the 8 and the 15, still below the 200, but green for the day. So just I want to keep my position size low, my number of trades low. I don't want to put too much on. I tried to manage this choppiness in the market, this non-directional with straddles and strangles. They've been working pretty well, but this FedEx one was a big bust, and that's all you can say about it. Didn't work. If I look back at the chart, I would have done this. I would have taken it again. Henry pointing out SLNO continues up. It's the one he talked out this morning. Big gap up on this SLNO. Big gap up, still moving up. This is the move at SLNO. Again, this was off a positive report yesterday. Biotechs. They don't care about the market. they trade to their own drum here. But this is a pretty nice move in SLNO. Still going up here. Breaking out of this this sets a spy line. That is not for SLNO, but see this compression now breaking up. Yeah, nice look on that one, Ari. bouncing here. Hard to trade this stuff. You can't trade. I mean, you could trade it, I suppose, between the 15 and the VWAP, but that's pretty tight range. Once it breaks below the VWAP, you get a little bit of downside potential, but again, it came right back up again. So I didn't take it, but that's not much there. PNW moving up toward the VWAP. Mentioned laser. Laser not bad here. Trading at 49 cents. Got a 55 sell order in on it. Phil, you're asking me if they're prop firms for options. I assume so. I don't know. I don't trade prop firms. I don't do that. I just trade my own money. But you'd have to check. I don't know if there's prop firms that allow options or not. I assume there are. I mean, they have fairly, stringent rules. Most of the folks I know that trade prop firms are trading futures, but I mean, I don't know. You'd have to check with the prop firms for that. No, I can't really help you. Pat's Nation, when do you choose a strangle over a straddle? I'm trying to learn the paper trade, non-directional trades, because right now I do only shares. Basically, the straddle strangle is just depending upon where the stock price is. If the stock price is at a strike price, like if laser this morning was at $7 or $6, say, at 6, then I would have taken a $6 straddle. I bought the 6 calls and 6 puts. But when I took it, it was trading at $6.25. So I took the 6.50 calls and the $6 puts because it was not at a strike price. It was between two of them. So you want to try to catch it for a strangle. You want to catch it between two strikes. For a straddle, you want to catch it at the strike, and you want to also try to catch it at near the high or near the low of the day on the price action. SPY with a backup bounced above the VWAP. PNW moving up toward the pivot to the VWAP right here. So PNW coming in kind of strong here right now as the market moves up a little bit. But you want to always take PNW. You want to always take the day, looking at the daily chart when you're taking a trade like this, because again the 200 is what I want this thing to stay below. It's come through this support level right here. It's broke through here. We'll see if it comes up, but they got the 200 right here, and I got next week's on this, so I've got a little bit of time to see if how this plays out. Definitely bearish. I mean, this is definitely bearish. You see, it's rolling over. Trader minus, yeah. There's a lot of good trades out there to the short side today. There was a bunch of them. Most of the semiconductors were set up short. Nvidia, AMD, AVGO that you mentioned. AVGO was a nice short as well. I took PNW just because I was planning on day trading this thing, and the pricing was good on the options, so I mean that's why I took it. I didn't look at every single one. There was a lot of good shorts out there today. I mean, I could have taken AVGO as well as PNW, and it's basically it's reacting very similar to P&W as far as the price action is concerned. So what drove my decision? Well, somebody mentioned the room. I took a look at the chart, thought the chart was good. I didn't mind doing an intraday trade on a short today, so I took it. And the setup was nice. I mean, you can see the red we had on here, and if you look at the daily chart on P&W, you got yellow today, just turned yellow, and it's got some reds here on the multi-time frame and in the long-term trend. So this was bearish moving down. If I look at AVGO, I'm going to likely see very similar price action. Yeah, very similar price action on AVGO, compressing and then coming down. P&W, the drop here was a little more substantial, but either one of those would have been fine shorts as far as I'm concerned. And you can't take everything, you have to make a decision. And P&W is bouncing pretty nicely here. So is AVGO, by the way. It's just bounced up from about 170 to about 173. So I'm just going to I'm not going to take P&W off. I'm just going to see how it goes here. The market is bouncing back up again. And I've got next week's P&W, so I'm willing to give it some time. SPY back up above the 8, but below the above the 8, below the 15 on the daily chart. So I need to see the 8 break, the SPY break above the 15 EMA if I'm gonna feel like we're gonna get more of a bounce here today. We're getting one right now, but we'll see where it goes. There's laser right here. Whoops, it's not laser. It's lazy T. Right there, 681. To watch that triangle is probably getting pretty close to profitability. Yeah, trading at 52 cents right now. Jay says he hopes your cough gets better.
I swallowed wrong.
Again, I took ASML off today for a profit. That put debit spread ahead on. I took FedEx off for a loss. The straddle, it's not been working at all, and I'm still on UPS, however. And one of the members said he took off the, I think he took off the calls and is holding the puts, which right now looks like a pretty good move. P&W right up. Look at the nice move, a very good bounce in P&W. NVIDIA also coming up right now. A little bit of money coming into the chips right here. Even ASML is starting to bounce up a little bit. Daily charts are pretty bad though. Tesla bouncing right to the 200-day moving average again. Went through it for briefly here today. This is what it did. This is on Tesla, it's good to know where these levels are, what they do. But there's a 200-day right there, the purple line. See how it got through it here this day, but it wouldn't confirm. It just the next day it gapped down and pulled right back down to the support level. Today it opened right in the support level. It's moved up through the 200 and just pulled right back to the 200 again. Very, very tight range it's in right here for Tesla. And again, it's got to close above the 200 and then open again the next day above there to be bullish as far as I'm concerned. Other than that, I think it's just trading here in this range. Yeah, the chips, the Qs are coming back here. Amazon is bouncing up, is up nicely. Google, which was down here this morning, is trying to bounce. It's still below the VWAP, but it's bouncing up a little bit. AMD trying to put in a little bounce as well. Nvidia as well. So all the tech stocks are trying to bounce up here right now. Crypto's still down, but they're trying to bounce. Whoops. Sorry, muted my mic. Talking about the SPY again. It's moving up right to the 15 EMA on the daily. PNW, I'm in short. It's bouncing up pretty strongly here, along with the rest of the chip stocks, and a lot of the tech stocks right now are bouncing up. Get some money coming into them right now. We'll see how long it lasts. Google is about the weakest of them. Amazon pretty nice. Apple pretty nice. Meta bouncing up. And again, watching PNW. We'll see what happens. Again, I got next week's options in this, so I'm not gonna get shaken out of it very quickly. Watching Laser here. Laser is getting pretty close to our profit target. Trading at about 51 cents right now. Again, I got a 55-cent sell order on this thing. I actually get in at the 38 cents, but I posted it at 40, I believe, at 40. So it's up about a dime right now, or about 25%. FedEx I closed out for a loss. ASML I closed out for a profit today, the debit spread. I also had some overnight SPY puts that I sold this morning on that moved down in the market and took some money off, took some profits on that. That went against me pretty hard last night before the market closed, but I held on to them and did okay with them this morning. Made money, so. When the market bounced back up again off below the VWAP, back up above the VWAP, choppy. Pat's big bounce on PNW kind of annoying. It's always annoying when the stocks don't go your way, but it is not up at the 200. It's still below the 200 day. 200 day on PNW is at 179.32, so about 80 cents higher here. Best if you're trading something, especially if you get a little bit of time on it, you know, make sure you focus on the daily chart. Daily chart is what's gonna dictate the trade. I mean, I got in on a daily chart when I took PNW. It bounced back up again, but the daily chart's weak, so I'm not going to get out as long as it stays below this 200-day moving average. I won't know that till the end of the day. If it moves up nicely, I could take profits into it. That's what I was hoping to do, but it didn't happen yet. We'll see if the SPY decides to pull back down again. Again, always want to be taking trades, even intraday trades that are on stocks, if you can. If you're trading off the 5-minute on like PNW and you're trading intraday, then you're going to be out. I mean, you get into here and you're going to be out when it bounces back up like this. But for a swing type trade that I'm in for into next week at least, then I'm not going to bail on something like this, because the daily chart is still very bearish, and that's what, you know, when you're getting in on a daily chart, if that's what you're using for your criteria, and so that could become a, you know, an all-day trade or a swing trade, then you want to get out on the daily chart, not on the 5-minute chart. If you're trading intraday exclusively and you're coming in on the 5-minute chart, then you've got to exit on the 5-minute chart. Tesla Joe, call debit spread 25%, very nice. Yeah, Tesla with a nice big bounce today, right up to the 200. Now it's failing at the 200. Laser just kind of moving sideways here right now. SPY starting to pull down a little bit. PNW with a couple of red candles here, back below the VWAP again. Again, I have to emphasize that if you're getting in a trade like a PNW trade and you're basing it on the daily chart, that's the chart you're going to use for your exit. Now, once you've decided that you're going to get out because it's broken below the support level or broken above the resistance level on the daily chart, and you're going to get out, then you can switch to the 5-minute to try to get your best entry. Same thing if you're exiting for a profit. If you're exiting for a profit, then you can switch to your 5-minute chart and try to get the best price you can at the level you're at. But that's because you've decided to exit. If you haven't, and you're just looking at the chart and it's going against you on the 5-minute chart, you just use your daily chart. Daily chart is if you're getting in on the daily chart, you're going to get out on the daily chart. I hope that makes sense. PNW selling off again now. Oops. SPY coming back toward the VWAP. Triple Q's coming right back toward the VWAP as well here. All the indexes are kind of working the same way right now. Laser popped up and now it's starting to pull back a little bit, but still got decent relative strength to the market. And again, we're trading off of this big move right here. We're looking for a continuation of that big move, or a wipe out of that big move. The volume's dropped off a lot in laser right now since that big move up. This big candle right here, that big candle right there had a volume of 1.8 million shares. Right now we're getting somewhere in the neighborhood of 100,000 shares on each one of these 5-minute candles. Again, this was a big candle on laser here. 1.8 million shares on this. The rest of these candles now are running about 100,000 shares. Volume's kind of tailed off a little bit. PNW, just a nice run up, pulling back a little bit now. Some crazy candles here. The PNW just floating right around the VWAP right now. SPY just above it. Yeah, Pat's Nation. You know, it's a good point, which is why I pointed this out. To use, if you're getting in on a daily chart, get out on the daily chart. Don't let but you're trading off the daily chart. The 5-minute chart then becomes noise. Now, if you're trading off the 5-minute chart, you've got altogether different support and resistance levels you're going to be using to get in and get out. But when you get a daily chart, especially with like PNW, and you've got the 200 and it's below the 200, that's your line in the sand, and everything else is just noise. And it's very, very disturbing and very emotionally disturbing to be watching a 5-minute candles when the stock's whipping all over the place. When you're in the trade and you get in on the daily, what happens is you get in on the daily, you get shaken out on the 5 minutes, and you end up taking a loss on a trade that you shouldn't have, because you were trading off the daily. You weren't trading shouldn't be trading off the 5 minute, which is why basically you don't even need to watch the 5 minute once you're in a swing type trade. You just wait to see what the daily does. Then once you decide where it's time to get out, then you go to the 5 minute chart and try to find your best exit. Do I use other time frames other than the M5D1 for swing trades? I don't try to trader. Some people will go to the 15 and to the hour, but I don't. I just use the daily. I use the daily. When I'm going to get out, if I'm at a profit level that I'm thinking of getting out, then I'm going to switch to the 5, and I'm going to try to hit my best exit based on the 5 minute chart. But I don't go to the other side. A lot of people do. They'll go to the 15. They'll go to the daily. To the hourly. I don't. You can really get down into the weeds when you're trying to make an exit on this, but all I'm looking for is PNW to stay below the 200-day moving average. That's it. So that's the only reason I get into the trade. I like the setup. I like it below the 200, and the rest of this stuff is just noise to me. Now I comment on it during the day because I know everybody's watching it. I know when people that are short this thing, they start to see this, when they're down money, they start to freak out. Goes above the VWAP, I got to get out. So they take a loss, even though we get in on the daily chart. So that, again, I emphasize this all the time. Anytime you take a trade, if it's not going to be just a quick intraday trade, use your daily chart and use that as your guide. Don't be getting into something long. You shouldn't be getting into PNW long here. I suppose you could take it for a quick intraday trade, but you shouldn't be getting in it with any kind of indication of that you're going to take it for several hours or overnight or into next week as a long, because the daily chart is too bearish. Pats, do I have the same philosophy with entries as you do with use the daily chart to look for confirmation, then you find an entry on the minute chart? I do not use the minute chart, no. I just use the 5 minute chart, and we get into PNW. You remember, if you're looking at the daily chart, you try to get a decent entry off the 5 minute chart, but you're not gonna get the perfect entry on it. And if you're doing a swing trade, it's not going to make that big a difference if you're going to stay in it anyway. You're trying to catch a decent level on the stock. But I mean, if you look at PNW today on the 5 minute chart, right? Where's a good place to get in? Well, any place around here would have got a good place. But see this break right here? That was a break below the 8 exponential moves. And this is about where we get in right here. This was a good one. It went up some. We were up. I think went from about 680 to about 720 or 740, and we were trying to get out at 780, and then it bounced back up. Now it's bounced back up again, but anywhere in here would have been a good entry, which is where I took it. And what I'd be looking for now is just if it closes below the VWAP on the 5 minute, then I'd be looking to take it short again or add to it or whatever was going to happen. But that's what I'm looking at. But it's not going to matter. I mean, if you took it here, or you took it here, or you took it here, on a daily, it's not going to make any difference. You're still gonna it's either going to work and it's not. Because you're just trading this thing somewhere in this between this on this wick down here, on this tail down here, and this is your line in the sand. So this is the area you're looking at. You can get really, unless you're intraday trading for quick trades, a few pennies or a dime or 15 cents not going to make a difference on a stock like PNW. Yeah, 5 minute chart. Yep. I use the 5 minute chart to try to find a good entry when the daily chart is in my favor, but you're not going to get perfect on those things. You're never going to get in at the best price. You're never going to get out at the best price. Just make sure you understand that. Everybody's trying to squeeze out an extra nickel to the upside. I could have made more money in ASML today because it pulled down, but it got very close to the support level that I wanted right here. I had my price set in there. I still got another day and a half to go on options, so I'm not going to get the max price. So I took it off. It's at $1.65 after getting in for $1.05. Yeah, it went up higher. Sure, I could have got $2 for it, 2.10, but the spread is really wide, so I took it off right there. That was my thought process on that one. It's a good question, William. I know I don't like to average down when trades are against me. Now on UPS, you can get it for $1 right now, right? It's trading at pretty cheap. It's probably not a bad not a bad thing to do. The problem is the price action. Is for a straddle or a strangle. This is you don't really want to see this compression, especially here's the daily right now in UPS. All right, here's what we're trading off. If we want to see it bounce or break below, you see where it is? It's just not going anywhere. So even though the price is good, I don't consider it worthwhile for me to add to it here. When I'm looking at relative strength, Jeffrey, on the daily time frame, how many days back do you look for relative strength? Well, I mean, there's several ways you can do that. I'm really just looking for relative strength since I'm going to be trading it for a relatively short period of time. I'm looking for relative strength for maybe the last week. The thing is with the market, when you're getting all this chop on the daily candlesticks on the market, what you're looking for is the stock to be outperforming. First of all, you're looking at the daily chart. If you want to go long, it's got to be bullish. If you want to have relative strength to the market, so you want to take a look at how did it trade when the market had a down day? How did it trade when the market had an up day? Was it outperforming this market? I mean, it could have dropped, right? But if the market dropped like it did the other day, the market was down, 1.5%, and your stock was down, 1/10%, 1/4%, it's still got relative strength. So you have to just compare it, and I really just look at it at day by day on relative strength. What I do is on my TC2000 chart. I've got a chart that's got the SPY on it right here. So that's a 5-minute chart. If I go to the daily chart, it's kind of a mess, I know, because I got a lot of lines on here. But this is the SPY right here, and this is UPS. So you see the SPY moving up here. You see what UPS is doing here, and now the market's going flat. I would say right now that UPS does not have relative strength or relative weakness. It's just moving sideways, right? And it's on this algo line as well. So this is what I look for, and you can see that it hasn't really done an awful lot relative strength and relative weakness wise. Now let's look at PNW. See what PNW looks like. All right, so here's PNW over a period of time. See, this really makes it tough because the market has been really choppy. See it moving down, moving up, moving down, moving up. But in this particular case, PNW right now, I'm just looking at a shorter time frame. You see this big move up in the market in PNW, and then this flush down. That's almost a bearish engulfing candle. And today, with the market pretty flat, look at the candle on PNW. So I'm really just kind of looking for recent price action. And then when the market is choppy like this, it's really hard because you don't have a nice smooth pattern to look at. If I look at the market today, look at the choppiness in this market. Here's this morning, big move down, big move up, a nice move up in the market right here. See what PNW is doing on the 5-minute chart? Just drifting down, down, down. Now it's moved up here as the market moved up. See the market moving up, see it moving up? And then the market's moving down, it's moving sideways again. Now the market's moving up and it's starting to pull back. It's starting to show some relative weakness. It had tremendous relative weakness in this section of the chart. Listen, none of this stuff is black and white. You have to it's nuanced. You've got to be able to look at it over a period of time, but you've got to be able to make, say, okay, the stock's got relative strength. Now it's losing relative strength as PNW gained a little relative strength a little while ago. But when you go back and look at over the whole day, PNW has still got relative weakness here. if the SPY ends on a doji or a bearish hammer today, are we looking to swing shorts? Well, let's talk about this, okay? I'm not ready to swing anything right now for the most part, and because this is what we've got here on the SPY. This was a correction right here. I mean, this price action here was horrible from December. Very difficult to trade any kind of swing trades in this mess. Pulls down, people get short, they get trapped. They start to go long as it moves up, it comes down, they get trapped again. So they jump in here, short, and then it reverses on them. So then they get really excited up here on these gap. Let me get long here. Bam, crushed them again right here. All right. So this gap's down. So now that move's been moving up. This kind of price action does not allow to take swing trades. I haven't taken hardly any swing trades in the last 2 months, and I get a lot of complaints about that from people. I'm looking to get some trades. I can't trade these things. There's no high probability setups. Now we get this nice correction here, but look what happened during this correction. Moves down. See this big flush? This looks like a nice bearish setup right there. All right, bam. The next day, if you go short here, you're basically out right here on this candle. And if you go long in this candle, you get wiped out on this candle. And then you gap down, gap up again. See this? Gap down, gap up. So this kind of stuff is murder. So what I'm looking for is some sort of confirmation on the SPY that we're going to have a direction here. All right, and this 200 was important. To get the 200, this purple line. We got up to it here. We closed above it here, right? We opened above it yesterday, and we pulled right back down, which means this 200 it didn't hold. Right now we're bouncing back up again off of this horizontal support level, back up to the 8 and the 15. I got to see something more like the SPY goes up to the 200 and fails. I mean, if it fails here, there's an opportunity to perhaps get short, but I'd rather see a failure up here at the 200 to confirm that it's going to happen. So that's why right now, no matter what this candle does today, it's unlikely I'm going to be leaning toward any kind of swing trades yet. It's just not good enough. I know this is kind of a long explanation, but I'm trying to be as clear as I can be. You have to remember, trading it's not black and white. There's a lot of nuances in it. You've got to take a look at the context of what the market's doing and what your stock's doing in context of what the market's been doing. What's the context of your stock and what it's done in the past when it's performed like this. There's just a lot of things you have to look at. Yeah, that's right, Pat's Nation. Getting shaken out on a 5-minute candlesticks when you're using the daily chart as your criteria for entering a trade is a massive mistake. And I did a video on the most common mistakes that most retail traders make, because a lot of retail traders have very good strategies and methodologies, but they don't make any money. And the reason is they make too many errors. And one of the errors is not taking the context of what the market's doing into consideration when you're getting in or getting out of a trade. Like when I look at the SPY super system today, I have to take a look at what the market's doing to decide whether these are good shorts or good longs. I mean, was this a decent long here? Well, you've got the 15 and the 8 between right close together. So you can't really take it long here because you're going to come up through the 15. Could you take it short here? I mean, theoretically, you could have taken it with a little bit of a room down here to the VWAP, but that's not, to me, it's not enough. And then a break above the VWAP here, this could be a long, all right? But here's the 15, more resistance, and it breaks through it here. So you ride it up, and then it's right back down again. And now here it comes flushing down again. This is just crappy price action. And we've had a lot of these lately. And it's these aren't trying to make excuses for not taking trades. I'm trying to explain why I don't take trades when the market's doing this, because a lot of the criteria that I use, such as market direction, etc., that you have to have to get the highest probability trade setups. It's not there. Market coming in pretty good here now. I'm going to take lunch here in just a couple minutes. Just want to see what the SPY does here as it pulls back down again. There's some pretty good flush right here in the SPY. Go back down below the 8, below the 15. 565.42 is the next support level. Suzanne, can I share the link to the common mistakes video in the chat? Yeah, let me pick it up here before we go to lunch and pop it in there for you. William, just like that, PNW looks good. Well, market's coming down, so PNW is going to look good too. I mean, I'm sure AVGO is doing very similar things, you know. And something like Tesla, which ran up to the 200-day moving average and failed, you can see what it's doing at the 200. It rolled right over. We were just addressing the naysayers. Yeah, I mean, to me it's frustrating sometimes when I put a trade on and I'm looking at the daily chart and we get some big red candles and we're going long. We get some big red candles and I get so many questions about people freaking out about should we get out? Should we get out now? Should we get out? Should we take the loss now? See, this is emotional trading based on 5-minute candlesticks, and if you're getting in the trade on the daily chart, all you're going to do is drive yourself crazy. And I would really suggest that if you're in a trade long or short and you're using the daily chart, don't even look at the 5-minute chart till you get closer to the end of the day, because it's just you're going to be looking at your P&L. You're going to be down money. You're going to be afraid to take the loss. Or to stay in the trade. You're going to take the loss because you can't take the pain anymore because you're watching a 5-minute chart. And I put that, I put that link to the common errors that the retail traders make in the chat box. Liz, it comes back down around 650 again, not what we really want it to be. CVS, they're holding up pretty well today. Again, I took a loss on FedEx. UPS coming down here now toward the 110.50 level, which is right in the middle, which is why it's so cheap right now, because it's right at basically at the level we took it yesterday. All right, I'm going to get some lunch here. I'll be back in just a little bit. And again, thanks for all the participation today, all the questions, comments, call-outs, and comments. Very helpful. I appreciate it. Everybody appreciates it. The more folks we get watching the market, the better off we are. And again, thanks to Dr. No and Savvy Trader and Jacob over there in the Discord room as well. So I'll be back after lunch. We'll be watching the market, watching the SPY, which it was still. SPY is now it's gone red, and it's moving down here pretty nicely right now. So this is a decent SPY super system trade right here as it broke through with a pretty good sized candle. Will it continue? Who knows? I don't know. The SPY has a support level at 565.42. 565.42, about $1.50 to the downside from here. Q's also red for the day now, also getting relatively close to a support level. Okay, I'll be back in just a little bit and grab some lunch. Keep your sell order there on PNW at 770. Not sure what it's going for right now. But it went against us a bit, trading at 695 right now. Okay, be back in a little bit. Have to shut down the YouTube feed. So thanks everybody on YouTube. I appreciate your questions over there. Thank you, Trader Midas. Appreciate it. Back tomorrow around 11 o'clock. I was a little late getting started this morning. Sorry about that. Was kind of busy, so got a lot of folks in the room, and we have to give them the priority. Pat's Nation, you got shaken out of CVS any 2 days ago or so. Any advice not to get shaken out? Well, the problem with CVS is we have expirations coming up this week, so that's a big issue. But we're in the money. Okay, we had on CVS we had the 66 calls, so it stayed up above 66. What I use is the 8 exponential moving average here, the white line, and the 15, and I use them in combination. So a lot of times the price will come back through the 8, but it'll support on the 15, just like it did here and here. So that's why I stayed in the trade, and I even mentioned that day, it closed above the 15, I'm staying in it. All right, even though I've only got till tomorrow in this thing, but it's in the money by about $1.68. So it's in this void now, which it has this 67.73. This was the area that I wanted to see it get above. It's come back above it again. But this is what I use for determining whether I'm going to stay in a trade or not stay in a trade. If I was out of the money, it would be a different story because I'm getting too much time decay. But we're in the money, so we have intrinsic value on the options. Okay, Pat's Nation. I hope that gives you a little something to go on. All right, gonna have some lunch. See everybody on YouTube tomorrow.